Tonight, Sochi, Russia is not the place it used to be. What is life like for a city once glorified with gold medal athletes? We have the details coming up.
Later, ISIS continues to expand into the Middle East. Now concern over potential kidnappings by the group in London has authorities on high alert.
Plus, another teenager has been shot and killed in Ferguson, Missouri. How he died and the reaction from the community later tonight.
And welcome. Today is October 14th, 2014. I'm Elizabeth Naifeh.
And I'm Kevin Bruckner. Thanks for tuning in. The popular photo sending app Snapchat got even more revealing this weekend. Third-party apps used to store the supposedly unsavable pictures were hacked. The idea that images sent on Snapchat disappear after a few seconds was proven to be false after 200,000 intimate photos were leaked to the public. I guess you should watch what you put out to your friends before your foes put it out for the world. You know, Liz, it really blows my mind how ignorant some people are about their personal privacy.
It totally contradicts what the app is for. It's crazy.
You know, my mom told me, and this should be general knowledge. If you don't want to see it on the cover of the New York Times, don't put it out there in the first place.
Don't post it, exactly. I agree. I totally agree with that. And also making headlines today, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced on his social media website this morning that he and his wife will donate $25 million to fight Ebola. The money will go to the Center for Disease Control Foundation. Zuckerberg believes that his grant will encourage the CDC to set up more care centers and train staff members. Stock in Facebook rose steadily in response to the announcement.
Another well-known individual making advancements in the medical field is Anne Romney. She helped launch a major research center today focusing on treatments for Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, and other neurological diseases. Romney was diagnosed with MS nearly 16 years ago. There is speculation that this announcement has arrived just in time for Mitt Romney to place his third presidential bid. Some notable board members of this new research center include TV legends Meredith Vieira and Neil Cavuto.
Okay, so wrap your brain around this. Researchers created what they're calling Alzheimer's in a dish. Actual human brain cells are being investigated as a potential cure for the disease. Lead researcher Rudolph Tanzi decided to mimic actual brain function, allowing brain cells to grow in a gel substance. After introducing the brain's neuron genes to the disease, early signs of Alzheimer's developed on the brain within a few weeks, including plaques and tangles within the brain. The discovery is a huge accomplishment and will make it possible to develop more effective therapies.
We're not clowning around with this next story. A city in California has seen a sharp rise in clowns disturbing pedestrians on the street. In 1 week, 20 sightings were reported. The clowns are reported to carry machetes, baseball bats, and they're just wielding them at people in a frightening manner. Only one has been arrested so far, but the act has already made its way into social media. The Instagram account Wasco Clown shows pictures of these frightening figures in various California locations. You know what this reminds me of?
What?
The Purge.
Oh, yes. I totally agree.
Honestly, I think it might just be the masks and the wielding machetes and baseball bats, but it's a terrifying movie, and to think that this stuff's happening in real life.
And I hate clowns, so I could not even imagine.
Yes, and I mean, in all seriousness, this isn't a joke. People could get injured.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree. I agree.
Hopefully, if these people haven't been brought to justice yet, I know they said one person has. Hopefully, this all stops soon, just for the safety of the public.
Oh yeah, definitely. But in some more serious news, an Indiana woman is in jail accused of living with her husband's corpse for 9 months. Police say she illegally cashed in her 88-year-old husband after he died, and she lied about the bizarre circumstances of his death. Drew Smith has more.
That is a crime. I don't know if they'll charge me with failure with this report or not.
Prosecutors did charge her with a Class A misdemeanor of failure to report a dead body. This is the spot inside her Lafayette home where Solomon says her husband died. Here's what she told me back in June about the circumstances surrounding Gerald Gavin's death.
I know he went and got a haircut that day, and I know he went over to McDonald's and had a cup of coffee that day.
Solomon says Gavin died April 28th from a stroke, and she claims her husband wanted to be eaten by birds following his death, so she opened up windows and doors every day after he died.
So he wanted me to open the door so the birds from the ravine would come in. But the birds never came in. They only got as far as the air conditioner.
Court documents indicate that Solomon told Lafayette police a much different story. When police got there looking for Gavin on May 3rd, Solomon told officers that Gavin was traveling with her sister and brother-in-law, saying they went to the Kentucky Derby. When police asked about Gavin's health, she told them that he suffered a stroke and was in an assisted living facility. Police got suspicious and entered the house. There, they found a tarp covered by bed covers and a powdery substance that appeared to be lime. They found a body of a deceased person in advanced stage of decay. It was Gavin's remains. The coroner determined that Gavin's dead body had been there for 9 months. We obtained documents proving that Solomon had been married at least twice before, possibly 3 times before she married Gavin in 2012. Her second marriage to Jerry Eaton happened just 9 days after divorcing her first husband, Wendell Solomon, in White County, Indiana, back in 1994. So Solomon sits in jail tonight facing multiple felonies for theft and welfare fraud, cashing Social Security and pension checks that belonged to her dead husband, while his body was decomposing on this hardwood floor.
In the wake of Michael Brown's death, officials in St. Louis are investigating the fatal shooting of another black teenager. 18-year-old Von Derritt Myers is accused of shooting an off-duty police officer. The officer returned fire, shooting 17 rounds and killing Myers. His mother told the Associated Press that her son was unarmed, sparking numerous protests and questions as to why so many shots were fired in the first place.
So how do you elect someone to office? Have you ever heard of an election being decided by beauty? Over the weekend, New Hampshire State Representative Stephen Valancourt wrote a blog predicting the outcome of a congressional district race based on beauty alone. He described one candidate as, quote, ugly as sin, while her opponent, Marlena Garcia, was described as one of the most attractive women on the political scene. This raises the question of whether political campaigns are based on experience or popularity. And I think it's ridiculous how they could be how you can elect someone based on beauty. It should be about what they're doing for the people, but you know.
Exactly. This doesn't seem appropriate to me at all.
It's not appropriate at all, at all.
And you know, like, can we finally just start getting rid of this sexism in politics? I mean, just disgusting remarks from you know, the state representative.
I agree.
That should have no place in political discourse.
Oh, I agree. I agree.
The U.S. State Department warned Americans traveling to the Middle East, Asia, Africa, and parts of Europe Friday to be on high alert for terrorist attacks. Kidnappings have been increasing as ISIS, Al-Qaeda, and other extremist groups try to finance their operations with ransom money. The department said in a statement Friday that, quote, terrorist groups have stepped up their rhetoric calling for additional attacks or kidnapping attempts on Westerners.
London Mayor Boris Johnson recently announced the UK national threat level has been raised to severe. Johnson said that British counterterrorism forces are monitoring thousands of potential extremists. 5 men have been arrested due to suspicion of terrorism and continue to be questioned. There is a concern that these threats may be related to the extremist group ISIS. I can't believe this.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty terrible, honestly.
ISIS is just, it's this whole thing that's going on. I wish everyone just wants peace, and these people are just insane.
Right, and just to clarify, a national severe threat doesn't necessarily mean that an attack is imminent, but it does mean that there's that it's highly likely. So, you know, a lot of danger going on over there.
And everyone just should be on alert, you know?
You know, at least it's good that they're taking the necessary precautions.
Definitely.
In other news, Taylor Swift sets another record, and Lena Dunham is tackling a new project. Azada Ansari has those stories and more in today's Hollywood Minute.
Taylor Swift doesn't need to shake this off. The Grammy winner is 2014's Billboard Woman of the Year and the only person ever to claim the title twice. She receives her award on December 12th, about 1 month after the release of her 5th studio album, 1989. Lena Dunham is traveling back in time. The Girls creator and star announced at this year's New Yorker Festival that she will be adapting young adult novel Catherine Called Birdie. The story follows a young girl coming of age in 1290s England. Dunham will produce the film through her production company, A Casual Romance.
Did you kill your wife, Nick?
Gone Girl held on to the top spot at the box office for a second week. The thriller about a marriage gone wrong brought in close to $27 million. Dracula Untold trailed close behind. It drank up about $24 million for its opening week. And Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day rounded out the top three. The children's book adaptation made $19 million. For Hollywood Minute, I'm Azadeh Ansari.
As technology begins to play an increasingly large part in early education, a new trend called e-reading has parents and pediatricians scratching their heads. The American Academy of Pediatrics strongly recommends that children less than 2 years of age receive no screen time at all, and that older children receive no more than 2 hours per day, putting parents in a difficult position, especially as ebook readers and app developers continue to encourage interactivity as educational and not a distraction. It may be too early to tell, but it is certainly hoped that these self-reading books don't lull parents into abandoning their educational responsibilities.
Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella is clearing up the controversial comment he made at the Grace Hopper celebration of women in the computing conference this past week. Nadella caused a stir by saying that women who do not ask for a raise will receive good karma. To make amends, he tweeted, quote, "I was inarticulate on how women should ask for a raise. Our industry must close the gender pay gap so raises are not needed because of bias. Annual data shows that women make 78 cents to every dollar made by men. This number has increased slightly over the past years."
Speaking of children, doctors in Boston believe a teenage boy is the latest person to suffer from enterovirus, though in his case, his legs are affected. Liam Martin has the details.
He can't stand at this time or walk.
13-year-old Dan Dugan is fighting for his ability to walk.
He went to go up a flight of stairs, and his legs fell out from underneath.
The boy's parents from Seabrook, New Hampshire, say the symptoms started a few weeks ago with just a headache and a persistent cough. It progressed to vomiting, fatigue, and then his legs went.
He had called for me from his bed, and I went in, and he says, I can't get out of bed. And I said, all right, well, come on, I'll help you. And he goes, no, I can't move my legs. I can't get out of bed.
Dan was eventually rushed here to Tufts Medical Center. His doctors believe he has enterovirus D68, and that, like polio, it's attacking his spinal cord.
Some people get colds, some people get coughs, some people get GI symptoms. He was just very unfortunate in getting the neurologic consequences of the virus.
And Dan is not the only one. Several children across the country have experienced paralysis after battling the virus, and doctors say they're still trying to figure out how to treat it.
I think this is a really challenging situation because this is a very rare side effect of a virus.
He's making small improvements every day. He's shown significant improvements since we first arrived.
It's crazy how all these viruses are emerging. First we have Ebola, and now we have Entero. It's just, what do you think about it?
Well, obviously, it's a terrible thing that this stuff is happening to children across the country. My prayers go out to his family, and hopefully they're able to eradicate this as soon as possible.
Yeah, I agree, because it's just so many people are getting sick, and it's just crazy. It's crazy.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week. I'm Kevin Bruckner. Be sure to tune in on October 28th for a special performance on MCTV News.
And I'm Elizabeth Naifeh. Good night.